I am going to call the special council meeting of May 1st, 2024 to order. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you please call roll? I don't know if he heard you.
Madden.
Here.
Why does it seem like it's not working? Perry. Here. Palmer.
Here.
Vincent.
Here.
Bilski. Here. Foster. Here. Silver.
Before we get to the public hearing, we're going to go off script a little bit and do some of the ceremonial things that we do have on the agenda. So we're going to start with item 4 here. I will make a motion to confirm the appointment of Larry Genova.
I'll make the motion.
Supposed to change and put resolution first.
Person in the resolution. Does it matter?
Well, because we were gonna. Okay, changing of the guard, that was
I
all.
will make a motion to confirm the appointment of Larry Genova as Fire Chief of the Orange Village Fire Department. Is there a second?
Second. We'll all second that.
I'll second it.
We'll all second.
Who would speak on that? Is that Larry or Chief Wilson? Outgoing Chief Wilson, Mayor Klein.
Nobody's speaking. Where's Wilson?
How about yourself?
Thank you for this opportunity to introduce our new fire chief. I'm really looking forward to working with you, Larry, and the rest of your department. This is going to be a great time for Orange Village. Larry has served with our community for many years. He's been a firefighter, paramedic, and led much of the activities of our fire department, training and working closely with me as we will move into the 21st century and the development of our new fire facilities, hopefully in the coming years. Larry, if you'd like to come up here, I will administer the oath of office. And if you
You have to vote.
To vote. We made the motions. We need to vote.
out of order, you're out of order.
Vote.
Any comments before we call roll? Anna, please call roll.
Madden. Perry.
Yes.
Allner.
Yes.
Vincent.
Yes.
Bilski.
Yes.
Silver.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Now.
Now you may administer the oath.
Larry, who do you have with you today? Why don't you come up? I will admit. So, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Larry Genova,
Solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge my duties as Fire Chief
discharge my duties as Fire Chief
of Orange Village, State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations. Then you have to, you get to sign the other,
Minute later.
do the usual. The, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You don't,
All right, is there a motion to confirm the appointment of William Mandich as Assistant Chief of the Orange Village Fire Department?
So moved.
Thank you, Stacy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. Chief Genova, would you like to speak on his behalf?
Sure, yes. Pull up my notes here. Before I get to Bill, the next three gentlemen being promoted tonight bring nearly a century of combined experience to these new roles. Each of them serve in a leadership role at their career departments and bring a wide range of experience and knowledge back to Orange. Their knowledge and experience complement each other and make our command staff a well-rounded group. They were also selected because they each provide a little bit of yin to some of my yangs. We work well as a team, and I'm confident that this team will successfully guide our department into this next phase, and hopefully they will all make me look better than I made Bob look. Now about Bill, first for your confirmation as Assistant Fire Chief, Bill Mandich. Bill joined the fire department in 2000 as a green, starry-eyed, impressionable little Proby, who still known today by some as Little Willie. Bill, like many of us in the exuberance of our youth, provided many memories for us at Orange Fire. If you'd like to hear some of these stories, you will have to attend one of our retirement parties someday, or some of these stories of one of our funerals. Bill was promoted to lieutenant last year. He's also currently a lieutenant with the Mayfield Heights Fire Department. I enjoy sports and spending time with his family. We've lost track of how many children he has, and there's probably time for another one. But anyway, for your confirmation tonight, Bill Mandich.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Anna, please call roll.
thank you. Madden? Perry?
Yes.
Allner?
Yes.
Vincent?
Yes.
Bilski?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Silver?
Yes.
Thank you.
Who have you brought with you tonight, Bill?
Handful of Orange Village Fire Department here, Police Department, there's a handful of Mayfield firefighters here. My best friend Jerry's here, my cousin Lee's here. My four kids are here, so you can come on up.
Oh, stand up, please. Come up here with Dad. Come up here with Dad.
My auntie's here, my sister-in-law's here, my dad Albert, my dad Mike, and my mom Lucy. So I have a whole big crew.
Congratulations.
This is my son Nathan, my daughter Savannah, my daughter Madison, and my daughter Layla, and of course my beautiful wife Emma.
That introduction, I'd like to administer the oath of office for you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, William Mandich,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as Assistant Fire Chief of Orange Village, State of Ohio,
in the village, State of Ohio.
during my continuance in said office. Congratulations. Once-
Congratulations. Yeah.
right, is there a motion to confirm the appointment of Scott Arcangeli, I believe I got that right, as captain of the Orange Village Fire Department? We can do the,
Yeah, we still have to appoint.
I'll make that motion.
thank you, Kim. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Unfortunately, Scott got held over for overtime at his full-time job. Couldn't find anybody to cover. Scott is a full-time career firefighter. He's a captain at the Garfield Heights Fire Department. And when you're at that, shift commander, there's only a few people that you can swap shifts with, so he'll get his oath tomorrow morning. Scott joined the fire department in 1997, was promoted to lieutenant in 2018. While Scott did not come to us all brand new like Willie did, he came to Orange with a little experience when he moved to this area. We try not to hold it too hard against him that he's from Michigan. Scott was a little less exuberant than some of us in our earlier years, but again, for some of those better stories, see us at the end. Scott is a fire inspector and has recently taken over some internal IT duties, which include the current migration of our data management and reporting system, which is a monumental undertaking. And I'm certainly appreciate his efforts because that would have been my job. For your confirmation this evening, Scott Arcangeli.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Anna, please call roll.
Perry? Allner?
Yes.
Vincent?
Yes.
Bilski? Foster?
Yes.
Silver?
Yes. And, yep, we can clap. Scott is not here tonight, so he will be sworn in his next shift, I would imagine, tomorrow. Is there a motion to confirm the appointment of Christian Flores as lieutenant of the Orange Village Fire Department? Thank you, Lisa. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kim.
Finally, in my list of promotions tonight is Christian Flores. Christian is one of our newer-ish additions to the department, joining us in March of 2018. But do not be fooled by his shorter length of service with us, nor his charming demeanor or youthful looks. Christian has several decades of experience under his belt, including over 20 years with the Lakewood Fire Department, where he currently serves as a captain. Christian is one of the most detail-oriented and conscientious members of our department. He's the kind of firefighter you want to that make you want to elevate your game, just to try and keep up with him. I know he'll be a terrific addition to the core of our leadership and will help take our department to the next level. Members of council, for your confirmation tonight, Christian Flores.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Anna, please call roll.
Madden?
Yes.
Perry? Allner?
Yes.
Vincent? Bilski?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Silver?
Yes. Here?
Christian, you want to come up and bring whoever you've brought with you along? Congratulations. Thank you. Seen a few of them before.
Yes.
Let's begin. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Christian Flores,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the State of Ohio,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as Lieutenant of the Orange Fire Department, Orange Village, State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
Chief, can we get a picture of all the new, you and the new people together? Then they can get to her.
Good job, Stacy.
Have a call?
Pardon? No, no. They're in order by height.
Hold it, hold it.
It's not here.
Nah.
Come on, let him, oh, she's cute.
Thank you. We're going to skip ahead now to item 18A on the agenda. This is Resolution 2024-2. It's a resolution honoring Robert H. Wilson, Jr. on the occasion of his retirement as Chief of the Orange Village Fire Department. Whereas Robert H. Wilson, Jr. has been a dedicated and valued member of the Orange Village Fire Department for over 3 decades, having begun his career as a firefighter in 1992 and also worked part-time in the Service Department in 1994. And whereas Robert H. Wilson, Jr. was promoted to Fire Department Lieutenant on November 10th, 2004, Assistant Chief on December 7, 2005, and Chief of the Department on May 9th, 2012. Whereas, in addition to being a certified 240-hour firefighter for the state of Ohio, Robert H. Wilson, Jr. is also a certified paramedic, certified fire safety inspector, certified fire instructor, and certified instructor in weapons of mass destruction. And whereas Robert H. Wilson, Jr. obtained continuing fire education training in arson detection, incident command and control, carbon monoxide detection, pump operations, hazardous materials and incident command, urban search and rescue, fire survival techniques, firefighting tactics, and managing company tactical operations. And whereas Robert H. Wilson, Jr. served as a full-time fire department lieutenant for the city of Bedford Heights, as well as a fire department training officer for that organization. And whereas Robert H. Wilson, Jr. was named the COVID-19 czar for Orange Village by esteemed former Mayor Kathy U. Mulcahy. Whereas Robert H. Wilson, Jr.'s service as Chief of the Orange Village Fire Department has brought stability to the department, and he has guided the department through difficult transitions and provided a steady guiding hand, leading the department through recent tragic losses of highly respected departmental personnel. And whereas Orange Village is indeed fortunate that Robert H. Wilson, Jr. intends to continue to serve with the Orange Village Fire Department as a firefighter and paramedic after he retires as the chief of the department, which will allow the village to benefit from his tremendous training and experience in those capacities. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of Orange Village, County of Cuyahoga, and State of Ohio, Section 1, that the mayor and council of Orange Village, Ohio, on behalf of all of the residents of Orange Village, express their deepest appreciation and eternal gratitude to Fire Chief Robert H. Wilson, Jr. for his extraordinary dedication and exceptional service to our community as Chief of the Fire Department, and we are pleased that he will continue to provide the benefit of his training and experience as an honored member of the Orange Village Fire Department, that the Clerk of Council shall forthwith certify a copy of this resolution and deliver it to Robert H. Wilson, Jr., that this resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by law. We need to vote on this, correct? I will make a motion to approve this, if I haven't already. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Does anyone have any, Stacy, sorry. Does anyone have any comments?
I'd like to take a quick moment to thank Chief Wilson for being an extraordinary leader in Orange Village. Your optimistic nature and willingness to listen have made you a fantastic chief, a great team player, and a wonderful friend. You've been there for all of us through some very difficult times, and I'm grateful to have had you at the helm. I'm glad you're not going far, and I know Chief Larry will do a terrific job filling the very large shoes you are leaving behind. Thank you to both of you and all of those following in your footsteps for your years of service, the work you have done, and the work I know you will graciously tackle in the future. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
We do need to vote on this, so. Not pass,
We
so-
could not let him go.
If I,
Can you please
this off?
Madden,
If I may, can I just say a quick word?
we're gonna call roll and then you can speak, yeah.
okay. Madden,
Yes.
Perry. Yes. Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes.
Now you
Now you may.
I have a lot of things, I don't know, I don't need it. I got a lot of things that I'd like to say.
Oh, you have to talk into it. You have to talk into it or else it doesn't get recorded, sir. It's at the, it was on. Somebody turned it off.
Me?
Uh,
Okay. Was that recorded? There's a lot of things that I'd like to say, but I'm going to save it till our end of the year party because I just won't make it through it. But we'll say the good news is that Bob has mentioned will still be sticking around as the senior blue shirt. And those of us in the fire service know that the senior man is never a problem for management, is always non-judgmental, and never without words of praise. But I do want to thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, and thank you for that resolution, because I didn't know I had any of those things. I got something for a resume, I guess. When I was promoted to chief, actually, Mayor Mulcahy was not here that night, so she usually tells me, hey, you introduce who you brought. So tonight I'm going to introduce who I brought because my daughter brought it up. My wife, Jeannie, my daughter, Isabel, and my son, Ben. Everybody from Bedford Heights, which is Bill and Sam and Larry, and everybody from Orange. The police officers, you've made it very easy for me. It was a great job as being chief, but I'm not going anywhere. Someday I'm going to have Brian's job as fire inspector, so thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, for all of you that are here for the fire department appointments, you are certainly welcome to stay, but if you did want to leave, we will not hold it against you, and now would probably be a good time. We'll take a minute before we get into the meeting.
You got it, guys. Congratulations.
Then it starts a whole nother one.
Other than, if this turns into a conflagration, we might.
Me neither. That's.
They're not in here. Oh, they're here?
Be in touch.
I'm going to be hiding behind the pillar.
Still a large number of people here. I'm freezing. I should have brought a sweater. It is absolutely freezing in here.
Behind Ed.
She must have it turned to 50 degrees in here.
I want to thank everyone for your patience. Obviously, there were a lot of people here just for the fire department appointments, and we thought it made sense to get that out of the way first so they didn't have to sit around through the public hearing and the other parts of the meeting. So, door closed in the back. Thank you. All right, I will now open the public hearing to consider a request for a variance from section 1170.04A of the Orange Village Codified Ordinances, which provides in pertinent part that a minimum area of a project in an S1 zoning district shall be 25 contiguous acres. The variance would make it lawful to rezone the property at 4799 Lander Road, the New Song Church property, which is composed of 13.54 acres, into an S1 zoning district. If the variance is approved by council, council would still need to pass an ordinance which would rezone the property, and the electorate would need to approve the ordinance at a referendum vote in November of 2024. So I think the way we're going to do this tonight, I will have Ken Weinberg from the KGI Group. He will speak first. I think he's going to give a little presentation as well. If anyone else would like to speak, I will ask you to line up, I guess along that wall. And when it is your turn to speak, please introduce yourself, say your name, your address, and there's a piece of paper on the podium as well. If you could write down your name and address just so we get the spelling and everything correct for the public record. So, Ken, if you want to start, and if anyone does, yeah, oh, everyone will have 5 minutes to speak, no more than 5 minutes. Thank you. So, Ken, if you want to start, and if those of you that know you do want to speak, if you want to line up now, just kind of along the wall over there, we can start that
Do you
process.
have a presentation?
I have the drawing.
If I should go over there so I can see what you're showing.
Is it on the printout?
I don't have everything.
Okay.
Name of this.
How do I get the computer to check? Wait, I'm sorry? How do I get that computer?
Oh, F8. I see how, F8.
FA.
Do you want to turn off some of the light?
There's a couple different versions of drawings, so I'll explain as we're going through what everyone's looking at.
Turn it off.
Just a quick recap. I'm Ken Weinberg with the, can you hear me?
Yeah. Your name and address, please.
Ken Weinberg with the KGI Group. My address is 60 West Orange Hill Circle, Orange.
Oh, he was a resident?
The proposed project in question is a project that we're going to be taking on at the vacant New Song Church location at 4799 Lander Road. This church has been unoccupied for the past few years. It is becoming a nuisance for the police. It's also not being maintained by the current owner to the level that it should be. We are proposing to come in there, take down the church and put in a cul-de-sac street with between 15 and 17 lots. What is up on the screen, I don't want to turn away because the mic won't pick up, but what's up on the screen is the original drawing that we came to council with and what we went to planning and zoning with. A few key features of this project that I just want to run through quickly is this, first and foremost, will be converting this property from a tax-exempt parcel in the city, the 13.5 acres of untaxable land, to a taxable piece of property. Currently, it is on septic system. We will be putting in a sewer system that ties into the city main going down Miles Road. This project is all being done without asking for any subsidies from the city. This project is a little different from many others that have been going in Orange and other neighboring communities lately. The lots are going to range from 0.45 acres to 1.2 acre, a little bit larger than what you're seeing in some of the other developments. This is similar to what has been very successful in Orange Hill Estates, Orange Tree, Orange Wood, other developments here. We are only clearing what is needed for the road and the utilities. The individual homeowners will be able to clear the minimum that they need to put their house in, because most people that are going to buy in this area are going to want to take advantage of the very wooded backyards that they have. In total, going to have 40% of the property in green space. We're going to have sidewalks that connect into the city trails. And I think that's kind of a high-level overview of where we were. The drawing that is behind me right now got modified, and the modified version is what you guys have there. I apologize, that's a little dark. In discussions with planning and zoning, we wanted to make sure that this development fit in with the community in the area that it's going in as best as possible. So some of the changes that we did between the first drawing that I have up and the drawing I have up now is we added a detention pond. We eliminated a lot, and we added a detention pond in the front. So this is Lander Road, and this circle here for everyone to see is a detention pond.
Do you want to use this mic if you go to the
Sure.
board? You can walk around a little bit if you needed to.
Does this work? Okay. So originally, we just had one detention pond located in the back of the parcel. In order to shift the start of the homes further off of Lander, we added a detention pond in the front. It also gave the project a little bit more curb appeal because some of the houses, as you drive down Lander, already have detention ponds in the front of their pieces of property.
You know, just
Where did-
point the red button. I don't know if you want to talk about a certain area.
Okay, perfect, thank you. What we also were able to do was push this first house, which is identified as SL1, sublot 1, further back off the street. Initially, we were at 100 feet, which was in compliance with what we needed to, but we pushed it even further to 120 feet to further it from the street. This now sits further back off the street than the northern neighbor's house, and fits in line with the mix of all the properties going down Lander. We also changed the road from being a straight road up to Lander to have a gentle little curve in it, enabling you to not see an entire road as you drive by, rather just a shorter little piece of the road so you don't get the illusion of a very long street. By shifting this over, we were also able to add a very nice green space landscape buffer that would allow us to create separation between us and the southern property. So all of that was done based on discussions that we had at Planning and Zoning. I think the lot reduction was a great benefit to the project. One of the things that was talked about in Planning and Zoning was potentially reducing the density down to 15 lots. But at the time, we thought 15 was what was going to be required to achieve some of what we were able to do in the front of the property. When we reduced from 16 to 15, the only change that I'll talk through now is on the southern end of the property. So we have sublot 13, 14, 15, and 16, right, on the southern edge of the property. The other drawing that you were handed is a 15-lot proposal, and the only difference in the two drawings is on the southern edge of the property, 13, 14, 15, you don't have lot 16. The setbacks from the southern property's neighbor to the first house or to any of the rear properties all remain the same. So what we're requesting is that we get approval for the 16 lots on this property instead of the 15 from the original suggestion. Another important item I think is worth talking about in the difference between the 15 and 16 is the economic impact for both the city and for the project itself. This property is currently tax exempt. We're switching it over to a taxable piece of land. That one house provides a great deal of taxable income for the city and the schools in perpetuity for the existence of that lot. Something that, while it might seem small on a yearly basis of maybe 30, 40, 50,000, over time is very important to the city, I'm sure. Also, at the end of the day, the economics of the deal are very important to me as the developer. I have to be able to make the deal work. This is not a huge moneymaker of a deal. It works, but it just barely works. There's a lot of costs that we're taking on to make this work. Just wanted to kind of touch on those for a second. One is we have a large demo package taking down the building with the septic and everything else that's on the property. And also, the nearest sewer system is up on Miles Road. So we have to do a sewer line extension, approximately 1,000 feet over to Miles Road. Once again, all costs of the project not being asked of anything from the city. Loss of this lot, represents $200,000 to $300,000 of loss to the project, which really puts it in a close jeopardy of not happening. And if it doesn't happen, chances are the property will end up sitting vacant. And I think this is it's a vast improvement from what is there and helps with some of the housing needs for this growing city. So on that, I'll pause.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask 3 quick questions just for clarification? Is that, or would you rather wait?
Public, and
Okay.
you can do it during.
Not a problem.
Why don't we begin with the people lined up back there? If you want to step up to the microphone, and again, state your name and your address, and please write it down on the sheet that is there. And as a reminder, you have 5 minutes to speak. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is.
Want me to offer it down the line so they can sign in advance?
Let me just first say that
Can you please state your name and your address?
my name's Alan Cook. I live at 40 Sterncrest Drive. I'm one of the 3 parcels of land on Sterncrest in Moreland Hills that is adjoining to this proposed project, which I'm steadfastly not happy with. The main reason for me that I'm not happy with this project is that, in my opinion, all the adjoining properties surrounding this proposed project have, and I did my homework on this using a website where I looked at all the parcels of land. There's 15 parcels of land that surround this project, and the average lot size of these 15 properties is 2.134 acres. And the day after meeting on March 19th, I did attend the meeting on March 19th at the Planning and Zoning Committee's meeting, and I'm not good at speaking in the public. The next day I went home and on my home computer, typed a letter to more properly present my opinions, and I was fortunate enough to be able to deliver it to Mayor Klein the next day. So he has my letter, he's familiar with my opinions. I guess one of the questions I was prepared to ask today was, you know, what are the other conditions or restrictions that are attached to this approval of the variance request? I know that he just mentioned that, well, one of the conditions may be that they lowered it to 15 parcels instead of 17 parcels, or they backed, you know, one of the properties further back. To me, that doesn't seem like much of a condition or much of a restriction was made at all. And another question that arose for me just today, sitting here, I was given the agenda of the meeting. I just happened to scan down and I saw, item number 18, new business considerations. Excuse me, resolution 2024-3. I'd like to know, where is this 37-acre parcel of land in Orange that you're requesting money for, so you can set it aside and save it as a green space area? So why couldn't you do the same thing for this 13.54 acres of land that the developer wants to develop off of 4799 Lander Road? That's a question that just came to me today, seeing the agenda. And the last thing I'll mention is, I didn't even think I was going to say something like this, but since I'm here, I was scanning the internet the other day, just looking for what are my legal options if I want to pursue any. And I came across an article that I thought was, you know, hit the hammer on the head for me. That is that actions taken by a landowner to appropriate adjoining land or substantially deprive an adjoining owner or the reasonable enjoyment of his or her property is an unlawful use of one's property. And then this is a letter that, or an email I had sent to my 2 adjoining neighbors in Moreland Hills. I said, I believe that the proposed development by the KGI group will be an action taken by a landowner that will substantially deprive me of the reasonable enjoyment of my property. As I stated in my letter to Mayor Judd Klein, I believe the beautiful and peaceful aesthetics of a heavily wooded area would forever be taken away for the longtime residents of the surrounding area of this proposed building project. In my opinion, the obvious intention of the KGI group is to spread the cost of their proposed development over as many parcels of land as they can squeeze out of 13.54 acres of land and make a bountiful profit. And I've already stated that I did a second check of the 15 adjoining properties, and the average lot size is 2.149 acres. If for this new proposed development, they want to put up parcels of land that are 0.5 acres, well, I think it's pretty obvious that 0.5 acres is way out of character with all the surrounding properties. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. There's a switch on the bottom.
Okay. All right, can everybody hear me? All right, good evening, Mayor Klein and members of council.
You need to state your name first.
My name is Deborah Comet, and I'm at 60 West Stonebrook Drive in Orange. I've been a resident of Orange for 29 years. I lived in Orangewood for 26 years, and have been in Stonebrook for the past 3 years. And I'm a former member of the Orange School Board. I'm here this evening with Russ Grunke, who's the president of our HOA in Stonebrook, and board member Paul, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name. Okay, and my husband Pradeep is here, and he's a former member of council. I think I voted for most of you, and I applaud you for allowing your constituents an opportunity for a public hearing on a proposed variance for the New Song Church property. And I thank you, Mayor Klein, for speaking with me at length today on some related matters, which are relevant to the extent that they also reflect overbuilding and overcrowding, which can affect our neighborhood as well. I think, needless to say, I was dismayed to learn that in April, council voted to change a few words of the same ordinance to allow developers to build a condominium community in my neighborhood on less than 25 acres without a variance and a public hearing. The explanation was that this was just a housekeeping detail which would not require a public hearing, and that's unacceptable. This is not a mere housekeeping detail for the residents of West Stonebrook and Villas of Orange, who will be affected by this change without due process. On the other hand, if this is a mere housekeeping detail, you can change the ordinance back to the prior wording with a stroke of a pen, so that we would have a public hearing before allowing a developer to build in our backyards. This mere housekeeping detail will create more congestion and noise in my neighborhood and decrease our property values. There are many longtime older residents in Villas of Orange and Stonebrook who vote. I urge you to change the ordinance back to its original wording, which would require a variance hearing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Gotta put this right.
Good evening. My name is Brian Cost. I live at 4810 West Fairview Drive in Orange Village. I am one of the abutting properties to this development that has been proposed by Mr. Weinberg, and I came here to share my perspective about the project. I've lived in Orange with my wife and now 3 children for 9 years. I grew up in Solon, just around the corner. My parents are both graduates of Orange High School. We've been in the area for my whole life. When my wife and I settled here to raise our family, we intentionally chose the property that we have because of the uniqueness compared to surrounding communities. Growing up in Solon, I grew up in a very cookie cutter, postage stamp, quarter to half acre size lots, and I intentionally avoided that because we loved the 1.5 acre minimum of properties and how it just felt like it was more wooded, more mature, more green space, and it had a unique quality that made Orange Village what it is. You can see the same in all the surrounding communities with Beechwood and Chagrin Falls, Solon as well, Twinsburg. A lot of these communities, you see these developments that build houses on very small lots, and to maybe some people that is appealing, but that's why I intentionally chose to not come here.
I'm sorry. Can you guys, excuse me, gentlemen, if you don't mind allowing him to speak, please? With this proposed project, I worry that it's in line with other projects that have already happened. When I look at Lakes of Orange, I look at the houses that are on top of each other and the destruction of all the green space that was there. And I speak personally as an Eagle Scout, and I speak as somebody that works to preserve and to maintain our green space. I brought this up in the zoning and planning meeting when I spoke last time. FDR and some of our great presidents have always talked about how our national parks and our park systems were our greatest ideas. You cannot undo the development of man, but you can protect our lands for as long as possible. Something that the people in this room may not benefit from, but my children, my grandchildren will benefit from that preservation. Our wildlife, the ability for us to enjoy the beauty that is Orange Village is by protecting these green spaces. I opposed 14 issue, whatever it was by the Harvard Road for the same reason. The only silver lining I saw, and I'd be curious to Alan's point, is to see what this green space is and where it is that they're preserving and if it is something that's even useful.
for residents or for wildlife to enjoy, or if it's just abutting the highway and it's, you know, kind of a checkbox. I don't know. To Mr. Weinberg's point about the tax revenue, we live in one of the wealthiest communities in probably Ohio. The amount of tax revenue that we enjoy from the property values that are much higher is extraordinary. Our schools, our service department afford some of the best resources in probably the state, and I think you could argue per capita the US. And for us to make this grab of saying, well, this is more taxable income, I think is short-sighted, and I think it's greedy. I think that looking again at Lakes of Orange, you guys just got a lot of taxable revenue that's going to be coming in from those houses right there. We don't need more money. We don't need to invite more people in here to our schools. The reason it's so special and so sought after is because you don't have people that are building more and more and more. Dilution is not the solution. That just creates more opportunities. What makes Orange so special is by keeping it the small, quaint size that it is. And I hope that you as council members that I personally know one very well from growing up and going to school with, I hope you consider that, because part of your job is not just to make money for this, but is to protect the integrity of our community. And I urge you, Mayor Klein, as you have taken the helm here at the city, to follow in the footsteps of your predecessor in creating a beautiful vision for this community and for this village. Sorry.
You got about 20 seconds left, just so you know.
Cost of putting into this project, as Mr. Weinberg alluded, it sounds like it's pretty close. Is it worth it? I just want you guys to think about that for all that it's going to cause. I know that there's other issues that people will speak on about water and the related issues, but I just ask you, is this short-term benefit worth the long-term effects of what it's going to cause on our community? Thank you.
Thank you.
Which one? Is it this one or the other one? Jim Boyle, 31399 Fairview Drive. I am a 20-year resident of Orange Village, and so there's no disputing my consistency on this issue. I was at the planning and zoning meeting, and my comments, I think, were pretty clear that this is a terrible idea. I mean, it's just it is absolutely inconsistent with our master plan, and it is not consistent with what I think the residents of this community want. You know, when we talk about the dollars and cents of this matter, it is not this council's, this city's, this administration's obligation, duty, or even consideration, really, to make the developer money. If he wants to make money, God bless him, that's up to him. But whether the margins work for him should be no bearing on this project at all from the administration and the council's side. I want everyone to make a good living, but what I want for the city of Orange, for Orange Village, is for the right projects to come through. I disagree on one issue with the previous speaker, my neighbor Brian. I voted for the work at Harvard, and full disclosure, I did work on the rezoning of that at its outset, and I dealt with then Mayor Mulcahy and then Councilwoman Klein on that issue. And one of the things that struck me is what the administration's position was on Pinecrest. It was very clear this is not a money grab. There was no interest in grabbing every single piece of dollar that would come through. Mayor Mulcahy fought tooth and nail to make sure that big box stores didn't go in there, which would have made infinitely more money, but rather fought to make sure that the right businesses went in there, because it wasn't a money grab. Yes, we want to make money. Yes, we want to be a fruitful community, but at the end of the day, grabbing every penny has consequences, and this will have consequences if this development moves forward. You know, when I hear, hey, if you don't do this, this property is going to sit vacant. I don't know what's happening on the house that they just tore down on Lander a little bit north right there, but I assume they're building a new house right on top of that, correct? Okay, there's already 2 more that have been built on top of the tear downs on Lander Road, the same road we're talking about here. In my neighborhood, when new people come in, they tear down the houses and build new houses on top of them. That's what happens in this community. That's what we've expected. This is a residential area. When I was looking at this issue, the first thing I did is, well, what does Orange Village really want? What is it that this community wants? What is it? And You guys have spoken when DB Hart was here, when we were all here, and we put together the master plan. And so I want to just read a couple things here, because what is being proposed here is in no way, shape, or form consistent with the contents of our master plan for this community. The intro paragraph, the intent of this master plan for land use Orange Village years ahead is to articulate the long-range development goals and policies of Orange Village. The plan is comprehensive yet flexible and is not intended to be static. The village recognizes the need for a policy guide that looks to the future and conveys the type of community Orange Village desires to be. And that was what I think you guys should focus on. Not whether he's going to make money, not whether we're going to get some more tax revenue for 15 rather than 7 houses. That's what we look at. I looked at on page 5 of the plan. It specifically says that the single family in the residential uses, the single family residential clusters, developments, attached, etc. These developments are located in areas served by central water and sanitary sewer systems. None of these are. What you're doing right here is telling to the public as a whole what's in your master plan doesn't matter. If you guys approve this or move this forward, I strongly recommend you go back and change or amend the master plan, because what is being proposed here is in no way, shape, or form consistent with the master plan. The other piece is all 3 higher density residential developments are located on the village periphery, and it gives the details of them. This is not on the village periphery. This is smack dab in the middle of a residential neighborhood. When I said to the law director at the planning commission meeting, I said, this will create an issue. What we have decided now is that these contents of this master plan and the periphery where we have had these high density things are no longer the rule. It'd be a different story if you walked in here with 24 acres, 23.9, whatever, 13, not even close. Asking for a variance and a rezoning, heck, if you guys want to make money, make it commercial. You'll make tons of money. So look, you guys will make the right decision. I'm confident that you will, but this is a terrible idea. This is not what we live in Orange Village for. We have areas where we expect residential high density. This is not it. Thank you.
Is that, thank you. Okay, thank you.
I'm Jack Andrews. Can you hear me? Yeah, I live on Pike. We've been had the good fortune for the last 45 years to live in Orange Village. 35 years on Lander, 10 years on Pike. You know, the uniqueness of Orange has been the green space, the semi-rural attitude of it. I think all these previous comments I just, would second. The development around Orange, the residential development has been around the periphery. What you're proposing now is right smack dab in the heart of the central identity of Orange Village. The question I have, living on Pike for the last few weeks, there's been a lot of surveying up and down Pike. Is that part of the new sewer system that's a separate deal from this development?
That's for that repair,
Because I was told by one of the surveyors that they were putting in they were revamping the sewers or whatever. And then on the presentation, he said that they're connecting this. Oh, you're the one. The sewer, yeah.
We have not had any surveyors back there.
But yet you said you're going to connect it to Pike. What are you connecting? I miss.
You might want to address that question to our village engineer who's sitting here, and he can answer specifically what that survey is about.
Okay, so that's all I had.
Thank you.
Sign and sheet. Thank you.
Got to push a button on that?
I think it's on.
Okay. My name's Ernie Vesnicki. I live here on Lander Road. I probably live in here probably more than any is due, because I moved here in '62. I used to ride my snowmobile on this property as well, so I'm been an old timer. Now, the question I couldn't hear when you discussed it was, where's the sewer line going to be going out?
The sewer line goes out towards Miles Road.
Out towards Miles, but from where? Is it coming back to Lander, tying into the village's sewer system that is a high pressure system that all our houses south of here couldn't go in because the system wasn't capable to keep the 40 houses or 30 houses from here to Miles? So where are you tapping into? How are you tapping into Solon's sewer drain?
We're boring up through the right-of-way, up towards Miles.
Okay, so you're going to tear up Miles Road again.
We're not cutting into anything of the cities. We're running our own line.
So you're going to run it above the ground?
No, we're boring it underground.
Boring underground, under the road. That when the road was lowered, they didn't want to put the water line in for the rest of us residents because of the cost. Instead of putting it there and capping it at both ends for future use, 20 years later, they take the cap off and anybody could get rid of their septic system at that time.
I can't speak to.
This is an opportunity for council to hear.
Okay, that's the one question.
Okay, thank you.
Now I forgot the other one. But I was concerned how,
Speaking of the microphone, please.
I was concerned how they're going to tie their the sewer line into the one on Miles Road. Go through Woodcrest or go through Moreland Hills by the golf course or what?
It'll go up Lander Road to Miles.
It's going to go on Lander. And it won't affect none of the people living on Lander as far as their yards.
It'll be in the right-of-way. It'll go under the right-of-way, which
I know it's going under the road, but they're going to dig up the road to put it under the road.
Well, they're not digging up the road, they're digging up, there'll be
Not
work.
going to be like the gas company when they replace your gas line, they snake it without.
That's what they're going to do. It'll be a board. Ask the engineer.
Have a boring machine. Right. Nobody else could tie into it. Correct. Okay. All right, that's all I have to complain about.
Right, thank you. Are there comments? Yeah.
John Loftus, live at 4231 Lander Road, resident of Orange Village for 18 years. Primary issue that I guess I have, and I'm supposed to direct this to council, but you haven't been able to answer questions anyway, so I don't know. But what we have not been told is what's the price of these homes? We haven't been told what the size of these homes are. We have two huge developments taking place, Lakes of Orange. What's the demand for the homes? Are these developments that are ongoing, are they full already? Why are we asking for a change in the zoning here when the residential developments that you've already pushed through, I mean, one hasn't even started yet. And yet we're asking for another change? I mean, it was said earlier, I mean, just throw out the master plan, because it just doesn't seem like you have any interest in maintaining the zoning that we created years ago. Why are we doing this? I mean, you don't get enough money from property taxes. I mean, that goes to the schools. Very little goes to Orange Village. Let's not worry about that. Why don't we worry about more important things, like improving the sewer systems throughout the entire village. Making sure the traffic on Harvard is addressed. There are bigger, better issues than going through this zoning change. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Yeah, please step up.
Thank you. My name is Stacy Manila, and I live over on 4969 West Woodcrest. I'll keep this pretty quick. I've only been a resident here for 4 years, compared to many of yous. And one of the reasons that my husband and I chose to move to Orange Village was, like everyone said, the acreage and the green space. I and my family very easily could have went to Lakes of Orange, as that was first being built when we decided to build here. And we chose specifically not to go in that development because of the size of the lots. And what you guys are proposing right now, a half an acre, is nothing. And like other people said, it does not fit into the aesthetic that's already established here by the city. All I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? We got one more coming up. You get a chance to speak after.
Hank Kirkide, 4969 Lander. I've been here my whole life, 42 years. I guess I agree with all of the green space, all of that, too small of lots. My main question is, why is this such a secret? Why was an email sent out at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon about this? I mean, if you look at social media about this village, people are outraged. They can't find sitters, they can't find ways to get here tonight, so they can complain about this. I guess my main question is, it seems like a secret, is it? I think there'd be a lot more people here if more people knew about it, so.
Any other comments? Well, I do want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and expressing your opinions. We do appreciate it. We do hear what you're saying as well. I assure you of that. So with that, we'll close the public hearing and we will move on with the rest of the meeting agenda. We are.
Can it answer questions, or was that later? A couple things Brian was going to address.
He was going to talk to him later about the other.
Individually.
Moving on to agenda number 8. Is there a motion to approve the special council meeting minutes of April 3rd, 2024?
So moved.
Stacy, is there a second? I think I heard Jeff first. Any comments on the minutes from April 3rd? Any adjustments need to be made? All right, Anna, please call roll.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. Motion to approve the council meeting minutes of April 10th, 2024. Thank you, Lisa.
Second.
Comments? Anything need to be adjusted? All right, Anna, please call roll.
Madden, Perry,
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster, Silver.
Yes.
I'm going to turn the lights back on.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Ryan, or can you guys turn the lights back on? We turned it off. And then turn this thing off. If you hit that button twice.
You can just flip them all up.
I feel like I'm in the spotlight.
You could turn that dial right next to you as well. That would earlier on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let there be light.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the expenditure to Hall Public Safety for a total amount not to exceed $17,338.76 to outfit the Ford Interceptor Explorer? All right, I'll make the motion. Is there a second? I think I heard Kim. Terry, you want to? Are you speaking on this or
No, that's a chief, police chief.
policing? I'm sorry.
Well, I guess-
Stura, is he?
Skip that and come back to it.
I'll go outside and see if he's out there.
Why
they're
don't you
gone. The firefighters are gone. Yeah, Jeff, stay. That's fine.
If he comes back, we'll go over it.
I can't explain it, but.
I will make a motion to authorize the purchase of a 2019 Ford F-550 Versalift SST40 aerial lift truck from TRL Rents for an amount not to exceed $84,995. Is this you now, Terry, I believe? Is there a I made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Stacy? What this is? Can you step up to the mic?
What is that?
Step up to the microphone.
Should be.
Longtime piece of equipment the service department we purchased used back in 2010 was a bucket truck. We use it quite a bit around the village for tree trimming, street signs, the banners you see on the utility poles, all the street lights up on Orange Place, a myriad of things around Village Hall, putting up holiday decorations. And the truck is going to be 20 years old. And we feel it's time to replace it based on its age. And the biggest thing with the new truck versus the old truck is the design of the new truck has what's called an articulating boom versus the old truck, which has a straight stick. So when our guys are out working on the roads, mainly like on banners or street lights, the old truck, the boom has to hang out over into the oncoming lane of traffic when they're working on something on the side of the truck, which is a safety issue. You're constantly looking, worried about the trucks, box trucks, semi-trucks coming down the road. The new truck with the articulating design, that boom stays over the top of the truck while you're working over the side, which is the main reason that we want to look at replacing the vehicle that we have now. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions?
Do we have storage space for the new truck?
Yeah, we're gonna
Get rid of an old one.
We're gonna surplus the old truck, and the new truck will park right where the old one is.
Any other comments, questions? All right, Anna, please call roll.
Madden,
Yes.
Harry. Allner. Vincent.
Yes.
Bilski.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. All right, let's go back to the previous item, the Ford Interceptor Explorer. We made the motions. Chief Castora, do you want to explain what it is, please?
This number, you're talking about the 17,000?
Yes.
That was part of when we did the budget at the end of this past year, of the total costs of the vehicle, the additional vehicle that we purchased. And this is to outfit the car. We had many times we'll have equipment where we can take from one unit to the next, but since we increased the fleet number, everything had to be new. It's just the equipment that we put in these cars nowadays, between the cages and the lights and all the equipment that's necessary for the operation of our cars now.
Okay, very good. Motions were made, right?
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Please call roll.
Madden. Allner. Vincent.
Yes.
Bilski.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. Is there a motion to declare a 2005 Ford DRW Super Duty bucket truck, VIN 1FDA F56P95EA35808, as surplus to be disposed of at the mayor's discretion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Ryan. This is just getting rid of the old one, right? All right. Any further to add to that, or did I cover it?
was interested, we do have an interested party. Actually, it's a neighbor municipality right next to us, so if everything works out with them, the truck will be sold fairly quick.
Good market for trucks.
Questions or comments? Anna, please call roll.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry. Yes. Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. I will make a motion to ratify the design and public bidding of the 2024 concrete program.
Second.
Thank you, Stacy. Is this Brian, is this yours, or?
Yeah, this was just a oversight for the concrete program. We needed authorization to go out to bid. Hey, Zugin's not here, you could blame him. I can't do that. No, and that's all it is. We have the project out, and we needed the authorization to accept bids.
Okay. Fair enough. Any questions or comments? I'm being told it was in the budget.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Anna, please call roll.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry. Allner,
Yes.
Vincent. Bilski,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Silver.
Do you know when you're gonna open the bids and award the project?
We'll be opening the bids tomorrow,
Okay.
and hopefully we'll have a recommendation for next week. And obviously, the hope is to award so we can move forward with the project and be doing our concrete program in the summer months rather than when school's in session.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, moving on. Is there a motion to award the bid for the asphalt road repair program for 2024 to Roniak Paving in the amount not to exceed $646,593, which includes base bid and bid alternate?
So moved.
Thank you, Stacy. Is there a second?
As you can see from the bid tabulation, we got 8 bids for this back on April 11th, which is a significant number of bidders for some of these smaller community projects. Roniak Paving, which we have a good history with. They've done a number of projects even in just the recent years around the village. Came in significantly under the budget amount as well as the engineer's estimate. And with the bid alternate, which we basically added overlaying Oxford Court as our bid alternate. The base bid of this was the overlaying of parts of White Drive and Pike Drive. Part of the Pike Drive project, we are improving some of the sewer system that is in disrepair. So we're just improving our drainage over there. It has nothing to do with the New Song Church. Gentlemen, but as you can see, Roniak significantly under budgeted, and I make a recommendation for their award.
Are there some top projects besides the ones you just mentioned? I know a couple years ago we were looking at some roads in Orangewood. Are there certain asphalt projects that are high on the list?
Each year we do our evaluation and go out and kind of pick what roads need it the worst. Orangewood is on our list for concrete repairs. This year's concrete program is going to concentrate on Harvard and Orange Place. Orangewood will be, I think we have a couple catch basins on Orangewood, but Orangewood is also been looked at as a more than likely next year's project already.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Brian?
Has there been any conversation about widening some roads in the village?
Widening, no. I know there's a few roads that are considered very narrow, and the biggest problem with widening roads in the village is Most of our, especially side streets, are swaled roads. So to push the roads a little bit wider, we're either going to have to put in sewers or move the swales out, and it's not an easy task.
That's my sir.
Leanna, will you please call roll?
Madden,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Allner. Yes. Vincent.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Silver.
Great. Is there a motion to adopt the final order and decision of council and the conclusions of fact for the variance requested by the KJI Group LLC to permit an S1 development on the property at 4799 Lander Road?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you, Stacy. Someone want to speak on this, or?
This is for the New Song Church property. It would grant the variance as requested by the property owner with conditions recommended by the village planner, who is with us this evening, Mark Majeski. The change that has been requested by the developer from the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation is that there be 16 dwelling units rather than 15 dwelling units. I had communicated with council that that would require a vote of 5 council members to do that. Holding up 4 fingers, 5 council members to do that. I was asked about it by the mayor, and I went back and looked again. When 5 council members are required to vote, let's back that up. The only vote that requires the vote of 5 council members as opposed to 4 council members is if the council is seeking to approve something that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended disapproval of. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended the approval of this project, and now this is a modification. If council wants to consider the request of the developer to move in the direction of allowing 16 dwelling units rather than 15, a motion to amend the draft of the conclusions of fact could be made. Make that amendment, you vote on that, and then you'd vote on the a motion to adopt the conclusions of fact, which would grant the variance and allow council to set a hearing, a public hearing for the zoning ordinance that would be 30 days, next month in June. It could be presented to all of the village at a referendum. So that's the procedure that we're looking at here. And so that you can discuss it amongst yourselves, you can have a motion to amend, you can do what you want. But that would be the procedure that you'd want to follow.
Can you clarify how this is different from 17A?
Thank
What we're voting on here versus what we're voting on.
Sure. 17A is a rezoning of the property. As you know, in your community, in order to rezone a parcel from one classification to another, and the proposal here would be from U1 to S1, you have to have a referendum vote, and that ordinance would put that issue on the ballot for November. That issue would be on the November ballot if you approved this ordinance. The zoning would not go into effect unless and until the voters approved it. So they ultimately have say on whether the rezoning occurs. This is sort of a technical provision. Your code requires a property to be rezoned into the 25-acre district, the S1 district. It requires 25 acres. The Planning and Zoning has recommended that a variance be granted because there are unique conditions, and we can walk through those conditions. Those are in the draft of the decision that I sent to you. But predominantly, this is a unique property that has been used for an institutional purpose. There aren't a lot of those in the village. There's some on the western side of the village that have started to be redeveloped in any event. But the concept is this is a unique property. It was mentioned by the developer that it's not on the tax duplicate. This, if the zoning were permitted and the development went in, this would allow that property to be put to productive use rather than having what could be a white elephant there. And there was testimony that's picked up in the conclusions of fact regarding some of the difficulties that they've had on that property in terms of police calls and that sort of thing. And that in terms of the precedential value, there would not be that many properties in the village that would be like this. There's also an argument to be made that it is up against, this is not Pike Drive or Emory Road or something that's in the heart of the village. It is sort of on the edge, although there is a community behind it. There is the Woodcrest behind it and Orange Village Sterncrest property there. But those are all of those facts have been laid out in the conclusions of fact. So this, if you are in favor of allowing the voters to decide the zoning issue, this is a necessary prerequisite. You must adopt this first, and then the voters will be able to have the chance to say yay or nay to the zoning change.
Thank you.
So this is just the gateway before it goes to the vote.
Correct. And there'd be another gateway in terms of the ordinance that puts the issue on the ballot. So if you want the voters to vote on it, you vote for this now. Yeah, you vote for the ordinance next month, and then the voters get the issue in November.
Next month or next week?
Next month, because we have to give
30 days.
notice. I think it's 20 days. We amended the charter, so it's 20 days, but it can't be next week.
So we vote yes now, or whatever, and then it goes open, so that the community can come discuss it.
The ordinance is a public hearing before you consider it.
This 2024-4 is on for the second reading tonight. Before we vote on it, that's you're saying it would not be next week. We would have a public hearing again
Correct.
next month, and then we would.
Procedure is that you have the second reading of the rezoning ordinance, then publish a public hearing for that ordinance before you consider it. In order, you'll note in that ordinance, it says council has granted a variance to permit this to occur. So this is the sort of the preliminary procedural issue that has to occur in the, if there's a line of dominoes, this is one of the earlier.
And then it's all wrapped together in the ordinance. Okay, thank you.
Do we need to amend this? You mentioned amending the.
Yes.
In what condition do we need to amend this?
Well, the procedure that I would recommend is take a motion to adopt the decision and the conclusions.
Okay.
Then that'll put the document on the table for the discussion and debate. At that point, somebody, if they wanted to, could make a motion to amend it to change paragraph. It's 19.4.
We have that in front of us?
Do we already make a motion to adopt?
I would have sent to you.
Okay.
Well, it's attorney-client privilege until we bring it up for debate here, and now it's a public record.
Okay, so we already did,
Okay, did I make a motion?
we already made the
Yeah, we made the
motion.
motion and seconded.
So now, what was the next?
Vote on the motion itself.
They already made the motion.
Motion to amend?
No, they made the motion.
Adopt the final order.
The next motion would be a motion to amend if you wanted to do that.
To vote on,
No. Yeah, the idea is you're amending the document before you approve it. Yes. Now is a motion to amend if you want to do that.
And amending it to
15 instead of.
16.
no, 16 instead of 15.
It's 15.
Drafted at 15, yeah.
If we change it to 16, does it have to be 16?
They could always put, no, it's up to 16.
Up to 16.
But you can expect that they will likely build 16 if you allow.
Not gonna build less.
Well, they could, but
Yeah, they could.
I asked the questions that I had earlier because that affects this. Okay, so this is questions for Ken. I just want to confirm that the sidewalk would only be on the north side of the street, is that correct?
Is it on? Yes, the sidewalk is, the connection of the sidewalk is only on the north side where it comes up to Lander.
Right.
It is the entire loop of the development until it dead ends into the southern property, because the southern part of our property does not hit Lander Road.
So that just.
where those houses are.
That's there. Okay.
Correct.
Second question is, and I think we had touched on this in planning and zoning, but my recollection is fading a little bit. Sublot 1, we had talked about, I think, the option of having it either face Lander, which would now face the pond, or face in, if this is all approved. Is that still an option, and who decides that, the homeowner? Whoever,
So
once they build?
I guess it's up to the homeowner on how they choose to.
Well, there would be a site plan approval process, both at the time, you know, if the zoning is changed, there's still the development process that would have to happen in terms of proposing a road that will be a dedicated right-of-way. And at that time, the orientation of the properties could be set so that the house could be faced towards Lander or towards the new road.
Okay. Third question, therefore. The third question is, you had reshaped the road, so it is not a straight shot. It's much more conducive to what our community feel is. Would that go either way, whether we do the 15 or 16? Because originally it wasn't that way in the 15. So either way, would it now be that more windy road, or is it only if we go to 16?
The difference between 15 and 16 does not modify anything in the front of the property. So the modification to the road, the added landscape barrier, buffer between our property and the southern property, the detention pond, it doesn't change any of that. The only difference in the 15 and 16 lot proposal is on the southern piece of property behind our southern neighbor. Instead of there being 3 parcels, there's 4.
Okay, and that's my fourth question is, can you tell us what the acreage is for those if there's only 13, 14, and 15, or if there's 13, 14, 15, 16? Can you talk about what the acreage is for each of those?
I can't. So if there are a total of 15 lots, those 3 lots, 2 of them are 0.62 acres, and the one closest to our southern neighbor is 0.82 acres. It's got a little bit of a funky shape to it.
And if it was 13 through 16?
The lot closest to our southern neighbor would be 0.75 acres, and then the others would be between 0.46 and 0.44.
An amendment to change it to 16.
You can make a motion.
Make a motion to amend it to 16. I would like to make a motion to amend what's the terminology here? The final order to 16 lots, 15.
So that's found, I think, in paragraph 19, item number 4.
Okay. Is there a second on that? Jeff? Any questions?
We,
on that?
Are we voting on this amendment?
Yes.
To what we
The amendment to the motion.
Amendment first would change just the specific number in that paragraph.
Any questions on the amendment? Anna, will you please call roll on the approval of the amendment?
Madden,
Yes.
Perry,
No.
Allner,
No.
Vincent,
Yes.
Bilski,
Abstain.
Foster,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes.
Did he say abstain?
He did.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I couldn't hear.
It was
So it
4 to
didn't
2 to
pass.
1, so it did not pass.
It did not pass.
If there were 4 votes, it passes.
Okay.
I thought you said 5.
No, I said I made
That's
a
if-
mistake.
Oh.
That's if planning and zoning did not. Motion does pass. The amendment, motion to approve the amendment does pass. We have the motions to adopt the final order and decision of council. Are there any other, as amended, thank you. Are there any other comments on that?
I haven't spoken to a lot of residents, but every resident I've spoken to about this,
Oh, why is his, yeah, turn that down.
every resident I've spoken to about this says that no, that they don't want any more development.
So just,
Sample size, but
yeah. So just to keep in mind, we're not voting to change the zoning. We're voting to allow the voters to change the zoning. So we do not have the final say here. The voters will ultimately have the final say in this. Just make sure everyone is clear on that.
I'm clear on that, but I've heard from numerous people, and every one of them is against it. Also, when I was running for this position, I repeatedly heard how people wanted green space and less development. And I will say, as somebody who bought a home that had green space behind it, which is not in Orange, is another city, that was taken down, and I now have houses there. So I do know how it feels when behind you changes from what you had. I have to say, I'm for green space. I don't believe that we need this. I think there are enough housing options in Orange. I haven't heard from a single person, and numerous people have reached out to me, in addition to all the people who came tonight, and not one of them is for this. And ultimately, I feel like I'm supposed to be representing the will of the people. So I cannot vote for this.
I just want to add, and I would rather defer to next week when we get to the ordinance about where I am on this, but if we vote this down, we don't give the voters the option to vote. And I'm a big believer in the voice of the voters, and that's important to give them the right to make the decisions. And I don't want to take that right away. So I would support this motion to allow that to happen.
I agree with Stacy. I'm a fan of green space. I like the way Orange, I moved here for that reason, but I'm letting the people talk for what they want. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I also think that comments were made previously about staying true to the master plan of the community. All the research that I've done indicates that this is just not true to that master plan. Anyone who's for this has had ample opportunity to contact me and other council members prior to now to express an opinion as to why I should vote for this. And I've tried to do research and tried to figure out why should I vote for this. And although I agree with Stacy and Jeff that ultimately voters' voices should be heard, I do believe that there are times that voters' voices are heard through their representatives that they voted for. So I don't believe that in voting no, I'm denying the voice of any of our voters. And I'll just say that for the record.
Audience members that do have questions or comments, we will have a moment, a chance in a moment for audience comments related to agenda items, and 2024-4 is related to this. So you will have a chance in a moment. Just, it's not the time right now, just for clarification there. Any other comments?
I think it's important to make note of the fact that we have a property that, excuse me, is in disrepair. We have an opportunity with that property to extend to our electorate the decision on the future of that property. And by taking information, and I appreciate that because I've gotten letters and I've had seen emails and other correspondence. Those are from parties that are against this kind of any kind of development, for that matter. That being said, it's important for those who may have an interest, may concern, and may be interested in seeing that property being made more productive, being less of an eyesore and less of a danger to the community, because at some point in time, that property being unmaintained and uncared for is going to result in something happening to someone in the community. And then it'll be a much larger problem. By converting it to something that is more useful in its purpose and blends in with the character of the community, we're not
not taking away green space, but enhancing it where we can here and doing it properly. One of the things I was going to talk about a little later is I've asked our planner to update our tree preservation ordinance to give it more teeth and more ability to maintain the green space on sites that are built on and developed. This project, this particular site, creates that opportunity, and I think it's important that the voters, at the end of the day, have the right to say yay or nay, and not just a group of people that have contacted us individually and say, we don't like this. Let's give the opportunity to the larger community, consider this question, and then move forward.
So point of clarification, one of the speakers from a little bit ago, I believe it was Mr. Boyle, mentioned how there's been a number of houses recently along Lander that have been torn down and new houses built on top of, or built on that site. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this plot of land is just too big for that, realistically, correct? I mean, it's an enormous plot of land, and it would just, logistically and economically, it wouldn't work for someone to buy it and build one house on there. Is that correct?
The land cost alone, if you built a single-family home on here, you'd obviously have to build it with a septic system. With the acquisition of that land, if we're going into an estate, might make sense. If you were going to build a huge mansion, but would that fit in here? I don't think so. And that's the only kind of house development that could happen on this particular property, without going through the effort of, first of all, introducing sanitary sewer to the property, which creates a cost and an expense that needs to be deferred over an entire development and not for one property. I think that, that being said, it's not likely that someone would buy this property to tear down the church and build a house.
Right. When people do that along Lander or Harvard or Brainerd, they're doing it. They're buying an acre, acre and a half, two tops or whatever it is. This is a 12-plus acre plot of land.
And many of those houses that they're buying, they're not buying expensive homes.
Right.
Doing this to. They're buying homes that are economical for them to go about doing them. Many of these are spec homes that are being built.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there a plan B, so we move forward, people vote, what happens if the people voted down? What would happen to the building property? Is there a plan B?
We were told at the planning commission meeting that this was being acquired via an option, so that the person who would be buying the property would not purchase the property if the zoning were not changed. So you'd be back to a condition where the property, presumably, the current owner will continue to try to sell the property.
I also have a question. As a homeowner, I'm required to maintain my property. I mean, I know that somebody can come around and say, you got to fix this, you got to fix that. Why are there no regulations on the books? Is there no requirement for the current owner of that property to either tear the building down or to maintain it to a certain standard of safety?
There are.
And are those being enforced?
I'm not, they are being enforced throughout the village. I don't know if there have been specific calls with respect to this property. I do know that at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, there were people coming onto the property making noises and making nuisances and required police presence, which was also referenced.
Yes, I had asked about police calls previously because I was curious about that, and I was interested, and it didn't seem like it was horrible, although obviously we don't want to encourage that kind of behavior, but Mayor Klein just referenced the fact that if this doesn't pass, unless I'm misunderstanding, it's likely that this property will fall into further disrepair. And my comment or question really is not if we don't allow that. I mean, is that fair? I mean, we have something on the books that would not allow that. They have to maintain the property or tear it down or something. They can't just let it fall into disrepair. Correct. Okay, that's, I just.
Behavior, though.
I understand, and people are not stopped from showing up for illicit behavior you know, in a park or whatever as well. So, you know, I'm not obviously,
Abandoned building than.
I'm not for, you know, allowing illicit behavior. So that's not my intent.
Okay. Any other comments?
I'm going to abstain just because this is my backyard when it comes to voting for the ordinance and for rezoning, because it's very emotional to me. But I do want to add a few in my thoughts here. Kim just touched on my first point, was we do have a vehicle for disposing of dilapidated buildings and homes. So if they become too in disrepair, before people get hurt, we have ability to have the property owner take care of that. And if they don't, then we take care of it and we put a lien on that property. So it's not that this solves that problem. I think a really important point that I've been thinking about a lot is that this goes against our master plan. Our master plan was developed 20 years ago with a great deal of thought and effort. I think we talked about it for about a year before it became the document that it is. And we've held true to honoring the thoughtfulness that we paid a planner to develop about these backland developments in the heart of Orange Village. So when we are taking, you know, and we're taking this concept and it's already cleared planning and zoning, and when it clears council, people go to vote on it, they're gonna think they have our approval, because these are the stopping points before we give the voters the opportunity. They're just gonna assume nobody's very interested in our business, and they're gonna assume that we say that this is a good idea. So for that, I think that we really have to consider the intentions of the master plan and what passing that at this council means.
Any other comments? All right, Anna.
Before you do, I just want to address one item that Lisa just raised, and that refers to the backland development question. This is not a backland property. The backland development property, because I was involved in some of the development of that document that is the master plan as a member of the Architectural Review Board and Planning Commission for over 23 years. Backland development is where land that's accumulated in behind the main streets with the only access to it is through the acquisition of an individual parcel of land to access that development property. This particular property is not that. This particular property has its own access from the street. It's an awkwardly shaped parcel, that's for certain, in that it is a long, narrow, hatchet-shaped property, and the developer who has come before us with their proposal has, I think, very creatively and thoughtfully considered how they might develop that in the best way possible, and taking advantage of preserving the character of the property. If you'll notice from the drawings that were up on the screen earlier, the back property of this site has a water course that runs through it. And the water course that runs through it is required to have a riparian setback, which is a green space that allows water to flow to the water course in a natural way, in natural ground, undisturbed. And this property respects that and it meets that requirement, and this development meets that requirement, and then allows for the drainage to occur more naturally across the back of the property, and creates a further buffer from the homes that are on Fairview and Waterford.
I think that this proposed development is actually 3 different permanent parcels, and this does meet the definition of backland development, as I remember going through the process too. So it is one property that has a driveway or street connecting to 2 other parcels that are behind it. It is one property owner who owns all 3 parcels. But I don't see how it's different.
I was going to make that, because that's what I thought I saw in the documents we were sent, that this was originally 3 properties and it's now 1. So it is, there was one property that had land or access and the other 2 did not.
May I ask a question? Given that, and given the current zoning and all that, if someone wanted to build 3 homes, one on each of the size lots that exist, that would be permissible or no?
Be frontage for those.
Wouldn't be frontage.
And so, the village has discouraged flag lots where you have a single driveway servicing different residences. You don't have situations where you have front lots and then back lots.
Village has discouraged it, but I've seen it in Moreland Hill. I mean, I've seen it in other places. Is that not permitted then, or is it, I mean?
I can't recall. Mark, do you recall? Mark Majeski is the village planner. Do we have a prohibition in our code against backlot development? I can't recall. Could you speak to some of the issues? Are there issues with back land development on flag lots? Is that a desirable condition?
Come up to the microphone, please.
Earlier said, "How are you involved with this?" And I said, "Well, I may not be." Backlots. Again, I am not, as fairly new to the village, I'm not totally familiar with the zoning code and have not looked for the backlot section. I believe, discussed it with the building commissioner, that we did not find an opportunity for that. Some communities will do that, although advisedly, because there are issues of access, fire access, and other safety concerns. Water needs to get back there. Certainly there are costs to developing properties that far back in terms of taking roads, sanitary, if that's appropriate.
I just asked the question so I could stall and look up the issue. The code provides the subdividing of land shall provide each lot with access to a public street. So that would not permit, you'd really need to have frontage in order to accomplish that.
All right.
It says access or frontage?
It says access.
I guess I'd have to see with, I'm not going to argue with the law director.
You should.
Well, the question would be, is frontage what's considered access? If I could put a drive back from the street, is that access? There are other issues you wanted me to address. That was a specific one.
Anything else for him?
You're not aware of any other sites in the village that have houses in the back? I live in the Tremont area, and there are lots of houses in the front, and then there's a back lot, and I don't think we have those in Orange Village.
What's the one near, is there one on Lander? It seemed like, I don't know the answer to this, but I think it's maybe the Dubiak residence. Does that have multiple? It seems like I've seen.
Farm building.
Just the farm?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there's only one residence on that.
Gotcha.
Thank you, sorry.
Are there any other comments, questions? All right, Anna, will you please call roll?
This is, just to clarify, this is on the motion to adopt?
Yes.
Final order, okay.
Madden?
No.
Perry?
Abstain.
Allner?
No.
Vincent?
Yes.
Bilski,
Abstain.
Foster,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes.
So 3 votes for him?
There's 2 noes and 2 abstains. Yeah.
Did or did not?
Yes.
Does that then defeat all the rest of this?
2024-4.
Well, that's not even on yet.
Second reading, but you don't have to go through the rest of the procedure. If the variance isn't there, you must defeat the ordinance, and you can do that tonight.
Got it.
Okay. Comments related to agenda items? You need to step up to the microphone, please. And please introduce yourself and say your address.
I'm Joanne Loftus. I live on 4231 Lander. You keep talking about green space. The green space to me is like our park, not some little edge of the river. Why can't that property be a green space?
We don't own it.
Own it.
I know you don't own it, but you keep talking about what an eyesore it is, and nobody's willing to, like you said, enforce the rules. I mean, you're always going around the houses and telling people they got to paint or fix up. How come that can't be done with that property?
The owner has to want to do it, right?
Responsible for maintaining it.
Okay, but like someone said, the village does it and they put a lien on the property for the cost?
If it got into disrepair,
Okay, it sounds like the building is abandoned and in disrepair from what everyone is talking about.
It seems to me that maybe this is something to look into.
decide whether or not that building is in disrepair or not.
Okay, but, I mean, if the property is for sale, how much is what's the cost?
I don't
What
know.
are they asking?
It's
You know,
the 7 figures, I know that.
okay. And there's no vehicle to purchase it or have the Land Conservancy take it over or anything like that?
That amount, I don't think so, no.
Or wants to sell it at that amount. So I personally, I mean, I moved to Orange for the character, and I love that too. And I wish we had all the money that, I mean, if somebody wants to buy that property and keep it green, that would be awesome, right? But in how many years has that been vacant and nobody's taking that on? And that would be a lot of money, I think, to take on that somebody wouldn't be able to do what they wanted on that property.
Who actually owns it?
The church.
Church, right now.
Church.
Someone wants to spend 7 figures on that and donate it to us and keep it as green parkland, great. We would, in a heartbeat, do that.
Yeah,
but I don't-
that'd be great. And that's how we got the 37 acres in Harvard, is they bought that full property and gave us back that, it's 37 acres, right?
Yeah.
So that would be wonderful. It's a difficult situation. I hear you, and I wish, I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that it's not just if our builder doesn't buy that property or the developer doesn't buy that property, it all of a sudden becomes ours again. You know, I wish like any vacant land became Orange Village property, but it's owned by somebody, and the property owner has the right to build what they want to build on it. And if somebody had the money to buy it and turn it green, I'd be all for that. I'd be the first one in line to say, wonderful.
I just, hearing the people that live behind it in Moreland Hills, they don't even have the opportunity, though, to vote on this, and I find that wrong.
Well, that's,
I mean,
Just as
I know you all don't care about that, but I mean, I do,
I don't disagree with you, but that's just how borders worked. I mean, someone's got to be right on the border, and
It's probably moot now, but one thing that didn't come up was, and I only know this because I sat on planning and zoning, have spent hours and hours and hours going through all of this, doing the walk, seeing what the area is. The tree lawn, the trees that exist between that border stay. That's actually beyond, is that correct? It's beyond the,
yeah. We're in the audience comments
All right,
section right
sorry,
now,
yeah.
so we're getting off topic here. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay. Does anyone else have any audience comments? Business, ordinance 2024-4, an ordinance rezoning certain parcels of land from the U1 zoning district to the S1 zoning district, amending the village zoning map, submitting the proposed zoning changes to the voters of Orange Village, and declaring an emergency. This is on for second reading.
You can't adopt it
What do you
tonight,
want
but
us to do?
you could
Table
take
it?
a motion to defeat it and knock it down.
It can't be approved.
Cannot be approved now. And it can't be approved because there's no variance in place for that property.
Okay. So, in the.
Motion would be to defeat it?
Yeah.
I will make that motion.
Second,
Second.
comments? All right, Anna, can you call roll?
I'm gonna try.
Caught up.
Yeah, I know. Madden? Harry? Oh, she moved, she's, okay. What do you want me to do? Okay, I'll come back to her. Allner?
Yes.
Vincent?
Beat the ordinance.
Sorry.
This is the motion to defeat it. So if you said vote yes, it's,
Vote yes. Let's put it that way.
Right, so that's not an option. Well, then
Reading it.
Or you can.
I can abstain.
Abstain.
I'll abstain, thank you.
I'm like, what? Bilski?
Abstain.
Foster?
Yes.
Silver?
Abstain.
I forgot.
So we made a motion, a motion was.
Lisa has to vote.
Huh?
Lisa has to vote.
She's asking what it was, because she stepped
Yeah,
out.
she
Oh,
wasn't.
okay.
I'd like to know what we're voting.
Yeah, no, I'm explaining to you. A motion was made to defeat ordinance 2024-4, so a yes vote defeats the ordinance.
Or you can
So we need your vote right now, actually,
abstain or.
to get it off the,
The yes vote takes it off the docket. You're done.
Yes.
okay. Motion to defeat it has passed. Correct. 4? Do we have 4 yeses?
Yes.
I think so. Can you read back the vote, Anna?
Madden? Voted yes. Perry? Allner? Right?
It's 3.
Foster?
Oh, Foster.
Abstained. You can put me as an abstain.
Oh, okay, so I have
We
4.
have 4.
There are 4
Is
votes.
that okay, 4?
Okay. On ordinance 2024-7, ordinance amending subsection 1170.04A, area regulations of the codified ordinances of Orange Village and declaring an emergency. This is on for the second reading. Was recommended by the Planning and Zoning Committee. Does anyone have any comments on this? That last week, can you, Steve, if you don't mind, can you give us the brief summary again of what this
Sure.
accomplishes?
This, when the S1 district was first created back in the late 80s or early 90s, the idea was that there was area in the southern part of the village against Miles Road that had some flexibility because it was not established as U1 developed. It wasn't developed, a lot of vacant land. The idea was to put, in order to put the land into the into the S1 district, you'd need to have sufficient size in order to make the district viable. That was done, and all of the property was put into that district. It's on, Miles Road, Orange Hill, Stonebrook Villas, and then the properties in between Stonebrook and the villas. What the code currently says is, in order to develop parcels as an S1 district, the property is already zoned S1, and the problem that you have is, if you don't make this change, which would affect rezoning property in the future, that property would not be developable without getting a variance. This puts a change in the code that aligns the intention of the district, which was to have that southern district in place, have it also be developable. As a matter of comparables, the Villas of Orange and Stonebrook are the same size in terms of acreage as the property in between those two developments. And my concern is that if somebody came in and said, you're not letting me do that, we have a little problem because immediately to the east and immediately to the west, you have developments in place. And it would be hard for me to come up with a rational basis for say, oh, they have that acreage and they have the acreage, but you have the same acreage and you can't develop your land. That puts the village in a very bad legal position. So my recommendation is to adopt it.
Okay.
So you're saying because the precedence is set both sides of the property.
Well, and I don't know if the word, I mean, I don't recall if the words were in place. I was not around when Stonebrook went in. I don't remember the issue coming up when Villas came in. I do know we redid the code in 1999. But I don't think the intention was ever to not allow the property that is already zoned as S1 to be developed as S1. And that's the impact of the current code.
We can go through a variance process if a developer wants to develop it.
Yes, you can do that.
Any other comments on this? This is on for second reading, so we will not be voting on this tonight. Any other comments, though?
If we maintained it where we had the variance process, then we would have a little more control in what's done, or no?
Well, remember, when you have the variance proceeding, you're not at site plan development at the time, so there isn't hard and fast development what's going to happen there. They're just saying, here's the sketch of what it would look like, and the basis for saying no when you've got developments exactly the same size on either side would be arbitrary, in my opinion. You'd have to grant the variance. So the question is, do you want to wait to have to grant the variance, or you just want to change the code to have it make sense? That's your choice.
Okay, moving on. Resolution 2024-3, a resolution authorizing and directing Mayor Judson A. Klein of Orange Village to complete all actions necessary to submit an application for Clean Ohio Green Space Conservation Program, funding for the purchase and protection of a 37-acre property in Orange Village. Mayor Klein, you want to discuss this one?
Sure. As you know, we have passed the legislation and the voting for issue 14 that brings about the 37-acre park in the former Weintraub property. While that land is being acquired by the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, they are pursuing opportunities to gain financial support from different entities to pay for the land that will ultimately be given to Orange Village as permanent parks and green space. They have pursued, are in the pursuit of a number of different options. This one goes through the Clean Ohio Green Space Conservation Program that sets aside funds for communities to acquire land for that purpose. And that process is underway. They require that we pass a resolution in support of it so that they can proceed with the process of submitting the application. That's the story.
Do you need a vote tonight, or no,
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
Just
We can vote tonight. It doesn't require 3 readings.
Why does it, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be daft, but I thought the land was being gifted. Why does something have to be purchased? What's being purchased, the land?
The land is being purchased. That the land is not being, here's the deal. Total land cost is being defrayed by the Western Reserve Land Conservancy's acquisition of this property. And they are working with a number of entities to raise funds to pay for this land so that it then can be turned over to Orange Village as a permanent parkland, permanent green space.
In order for the Western Reserve Land Conservancy to obtain grant funding, which they do all the time, they have to have a supporting municipality, and that's what this does.
I guess I'm just confused because in the discussions, now I was not on council at the time, but when the vote was taken in December to get it onto the ballot, and what was told to the voters, and what I understood to happen was the developer was purchasing that land and gifting 37 acres. So the developer's cost has to pay for the land and was gifting it. But now, again, I don't mean to be daft, but it sounds like the Western Land Conservancy has to come up with the money to purchase the land to defray that cost from the developer.
They're buying the land from the developer.
Western,
Ryan?
Western Reserve Land Conservancy is a nonprofit. They don't have, right,
They're in the business of acting as the intermediary and putting conservation easements on the property. As a part of their conservation programs, they acquire the property. I don't know where, and there may be some gift component. I'm not privy to the deal between Western Reserve and the developer. And the Weintraubs. The Weintraubs are going to get paid for their land. There's no question about that. And the conserved property, some portion of it may be gifted, and some portion of it may be covered by the grant. I don't know the details of that relationship.
There's no issue. The Western Land Conservancy is still going to do and play the role that we always intended or thought that they were going to play. This is just how they go about the process, and this resolution helps them obtain more grant funding to help make sure those proceeds to acquire that property and then make sure it's available for the village.
I just don't, it doesn't seem to me like it was sold that way, and it was certainly, my understanding was, and I think many voters' understanding was, that the developer was buying the land and gifting back 37 acres. So I understand that this is sort of, maybe doesn't mean that much because Orange isn't going to pay the money. And the Western Reserve Land Conservancy is going to try to get grant money to pay the money, to pay for that land. But I don't have a very good taste in my mouth about that. I feel like there's some dishonesty. I feel like this was not what was sold. What was told to voters was very distinctly that 37 acres was being gifted back.
And at the end of the day, the 37 acres is being gifted back to Orange Village. There is no price to Orange Village in
I understand.
this other than supporting the Western Reserve Land Conservancy and their ability to acquire funding. There was, as my understanding of it was, there were three pieces to this. The Weintraubs were selling their property to the developer to produce the project. The developer was, as a inducement, was providing for the creation of 37 acres of permanent green space for the village. That's what was represented. Now, the process of how that 37 acres was transacted is what I think you're concerned with here. Now the transaction has taken place, that the Western Reserve Land Conservancy has an obligation to pay for a certain part of that, part of which, and I don't know the breakouts of the numbers of it, but some of the funding was a reduction perhaps from the Weintraubs relative to what their contribution would be through a donation. But at the end of the day, the developer took down the entire property. They represented that the land will ultimately be given to Orange Village at no cost to Orange Village, and that Western Reserve Land Conservancy was the acting agent that would acquire the land and then extend it to Orange Village once they have completed the process of installing their land conservation easements over the property and protecting it for the future. And the cost for all of that is baked into this application that they are pursuing to get grants for.
And I appreciate that, and it might, And I understand, I hear you, that it's not costing Orange. And my only comment is, as someone who deals with specific words, and words have meaning, as my sort of 9-to-5 job, if you will, I do believe that this was misrepresented. That's my opinion. I think that if you ask most voters, people were under the impression that that land was going to be gifted back at no cost. I hear you that there's no cost to Orange, which is good. I hear you, but I would simply say that in dealings with Orange and with our voters, I think we need to be very specific in our wording so that we are being very transparent going forward. That's all.
The issue is, do we want to get this land? And if so, we need to approve this resolution.
I understand.
Okay,
I understand that, but I'm entitled to say what I've said.
Hear you, but I do think that what we voted on and the results, those things match. I don't think that there was any
Nefarious going on here.
I did not think it was misleading.
Nothing harmful.
I understand.
All right. I will make a resolution, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-3. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Stacy. Deanna, please call roll.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry. Yes. Allner,
Yes.
Vincent. Yes. Bilski.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. Resolution 2024-4, resolution accepting Cuyahoga County's 911 plan, and it's tied to 2024-5. Can I?
Do separate motions.
Okay. You want to Mayor Klein, you want to just explain these together, how they tie together, what these are and how they tie together?
Sure, I'd be happy to. In October of last year, the state adopted a number of new regulations affecting the comprehensive countywide 911 program. And the plan included the creation of a 911 review committee to review procedures, rules, and policies for municipalities and governmental entities within the counties. All of the mayors of the communities in our county are represented on this committee by one mayor who has been designated by the municipalities. The previous mayor is stepping down, and so I put these in the wrong order, but the mayoral representative that was recommended by the County Mayors and Managers Association is Kirsten Holzheimer Gale, who's the mayor of Euclid. She's been serving as the assistant mayor's representative on the committee for some time, and she's now moved up to be the representative. The other thing that's, I guess I'll talk about them all at once, and then we can vote on the resolutions. The county has put together a rather comprehensive, I don't know whether this was shared with everybody or not, but it's a 56-page document that talks about the rules and regulations and operation of the 911 system. We are part of the Chagrin Valley Dispatch. Nick DeSico in Orange Village is the manager of the Chagrin Valley Dispatch, and and along with that, Christian Holzheimer Gale is the administrative, she's the chair of the Chagrin Valley Dispatch, and therefore, obviously it makes sense for her to move on to this other position. But this new set of rules and guidelines that are being created need to be vetted and approved through the county's municipalities that are affected by them, and how they will operate their 911, how the communications will take place, the various dispatch units, and how they will get information and transmit their 911 calls.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-5. -4.
I will second.
I'm sorry, it's Jerry Ruby, not John Ruby.
Does anyone have any questions?
Can we combine the two and vote once?
No.
The costing.
Looking at the time here.
All right, Anna, please call roll on 2024-4.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry, Wallner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-5, a resolution voting for a mayoral representative on the 911 Program Review Committee. I heard a second already. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Anna, please call roll.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Wallner,
Yes.
Vincent, Bilski,
Yes.
Foster, Silver.
Yes. Are there any audience comments relating to matters which advance the good of the village? All right, comments by Mayor Klein.
First of all, I want to make note of the fact that this Saturday, May 4th, is International Firefighters Day. And I think it's altogether appropriate that we celebrate our firefighters that we have just installed as the new leadership of the Orange Village Fire Department, and I want to congratulate all of them. I look forward to working together. I wanted to thank certainly Chief Wilson for all he has provided to our village over the many years that he has served it. I met recently with the Fellowship City Church pastor, Anthony Alito, who informed me they have a week of community service that will take place in June, and they would like to work with Orange Village in finding a project worth considering for them to work on. So I'd like to pursue that with them. I'm hoping to pursue something with them that will be beneficial to the community. I'm sure that you're aware in regard to the zoning issue that we were considering this evening. I'm a little disappointed in the outcome of it. We had an opportunity to gain a positive impact in the village and add to the unique character of this property and consider that for the future of our village. I'm sorry that it didn't pass, but I appreciate the process and appreciate all the people who came before the council tonight to interject their comments and concerns. I mentioned in my comments earlier, I've asked our planner to revisit our tree preservation ordinance to give it teeth and greater impact to limit tree removal on development sites in a strategic manner so that we don't see developments that clear-cut sites down to nothing and then have to figure out what happened to the trees that were removed. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think we are gaining a refund from the solar eclipse glasses and appreciate the effort of Anna in pursuing this with the vendor. And the
Didn't see that coming.
Oh.
What did you say?
See it coming.
Very bad.
glasses, you wouldn't have seen it at all.
Oh, like the last 3 weeks to say that?
You had to plan that.
Interjection.
Weeks.
However, the refund that we are getting, which is should be about $650, is going to be used to facilitate a concert on June 25th at the amphitheater, at our amphitheater back here behind the Village Hall. Computer, flag, and household hazardous waste collection will be this Friday, May 3rd, from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. at the Orange Village Service Department, 4680 Lander Road. I want to make sure this is on behalf of Chief Costura to remind people to lock their homes and car doors as they are always can be vulnerable. Also, I'd like to make note of the fact that we're progressing with Beechwood in terms of the reestablishment of the boundary between Beechwood and Orange Village along Orange Place. And that's it from Lake Wobegon.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Again, just want to thank everyone that came out today to express their opinions and have their voice heard. I'm disappointed that the decision was taken out of the voters' hands. That's all I will say about that. Moving on to comments by council members. Lisa?
Be here in June.
Enjoy your trip.
Bill, safe travels.
Stacy?
I want to second what Brent said. I also want to thank all of the gentlemen sitting over there that have spent hours and hours of time going through to help us better understand this, and also Ken for his willingness to work with planning and zoning and the many changes that we asked for along the way. I too am disappointed that the voters didn't have a chance to decide, but I do appreciate everybody that came out to speak, and I'm glad your voices were heard. I want to offer my condolences to Councilwoman Perry on the loss of her mother. May her memory always be a blessing.
Thank you.
I will obviously forego the planning and zoning report tonight because I think that's been exhausted. In the school report, the school board did meet Monday night in an effort to save time. I'll just remind you that the mayor's meeting along with council is tomorrow morning or in about 8 hours. If we just want to head over there from here, we probably could do that. If you haven't responded to the invite yet, it should be sitting in your mailbox. Please do so. The school board approved a shortened school day on September 27th, which is the beginning of the Centennial Weekend celebration. And I want to raise this because the early dismissal, the whole point of it is to enable the many support organizations involved to begin their preparations earlier in the day. And one of the things that will happen that day is a parade, kind of within the confines of Chagrin Boulevard, but we're asking that all of the villages and communities that feed into the Orange Schools be a part of it. And so whether it's a police car or a fire truck or one of our new trucks that we've ordered, we definitely want all the towns to be a part of that, and looking forward to having our Orange Village first responders represented as well. There was a ton of recognitions in the, to save time, I'm not going to go through all of them. I just want to congratulate everybody, and you can check out the Orange Schools Facebook page and hear about all of those. A couple events coming up this week that I want you to know. The world-renowned pianist Lang Lang will lead a group of 100 young musicians, including a group of Orange School students, in a showcase performance this Friday at noon at Tri-C Metro Campus. 101 is Lang Lang. There's 100 students. Yeah, it's called 101 Pianists. 3 Orange Village students, Hetty Chen, Bonnie Wu, and Ethan Cowell, will be part of a master class and on the stage, which will be filled with 101 piano players and dozens of pianos. And if you haven't seen it, you can go online. It's the coolest thing, and they're also live streaming. So if you're sitting on near a computer at noon on Friday, go to the Orange Schools Facebook page for the link and tune in, because it's a very cool thing. I first mentioned this in March, and I know Councilwoman Allner mentioned it again in April. We're here. Senders Pediatrics is sponsoring the Kindness Festival on May 5th. Orange Schools has endorsed it. Kindness rocks, and that's what it's all about. So please come to that. The Notoriety Singers, a group that rehearses here at Orange Village Hall, will hold their spring concert on Tuesday, May 7th, the night before we meet again, at Garfield Church at Landers Circle at 7 p.m. Music includes a Beach Boys medley, songs from Mamma Mia, and so many more favorites. Tickets are $10 at the door. I hope you'll consider going to that. And finally, prom is coming up this Saturday night. I want to wish Orange Village Prom Court member Charlie Rupsman and his fellow court well. And I wish everyone a safe and wonderfully memorable night. Please keep in mind that our children are out there. Let's keep them safe. Thank you.
The Kindness Fest you already mentioned. Also, I know that Orange Village has a garage sales that people can do, which is wonderful. If you don't feel like selling your own stuff, you can donate it to the Kiwanis, who have a rather large garage sale, or coming up, a rummage sale, sorry. And you can drop off on Saturdays, so Saturday, May 4th from 9 to 12. Pretty much Saturdays and Monday evenings you can drop off. And also Star 988 is the Mental Health and Crisis Helpline, and people should just be aware of that and use it if they need it. Thank you.
No comments. Thank you.
Anyone want to drive